Terence Crawford and Floyd Mayweather recently stepped into the ring for what was meant to be a routine sparring session. With Crawford gearing up for a possible showdown against Canelo Alvarez, he called on Mayweather to help sharpen his skills. The undefeated boxing icon, famous for his defense and 50-0 record, didn't think twice before accepting. But what unfolded caught everyone's attention. Crawford's skill was on full display, and it became clear that even legends like Mayweather aren't untouchable forever.
Don't get me wrong, Crawford is his own breed, but I cannot put Crawford. Crawford is his own category, and I would never put him in a box or category with Floyd because he's that different. And then Crawford has moments where he will go toe-to-toe with you versus Floyd would never do it.
In the opening moments, Mayweather stuck to the style that made him one of the greatest. His footwork was precise, his head movement sharp, and his counters landed with accuracy. Even at 47, his ability to read an opponent was still remarkable. But Crawford wasn't fazed. As a 4-division world champion with 31 knockouts and an undefeated 41-0 record, he had no plans to hold back, even against a legend. The session started with both fighters feeling each other out. Mayweather's experience was evident as he made Crawford miss by the smallest margins, using angles to evade the heavier shots. But Crawford, always methodical, kept applying pressure, switching stances, and adjusting his rhythm to create openings. Then came the moment that left the gym in shock. In the middle of a heated exchange, Crawford spotted an opening and didn't hesitate. He threw a perfectly timed right hook that slipped through Mayweather's guard, landing flush on his chin. For a brief second, Mayweather's legs buckled, a small but noticeable reaction that had everyone watching in disbelief.
Eso. Eso, venga. Y 5, venga. 1, 2, 3, 4. Eso. Enjoy.
Crawford didn't follow up. This was sparring after all, but the moment still carried weight. Mayweather quickly regained his footing and carried on as if nothing had happened. However, those watching couldn't ignore what they had just witnessed. The legendary defensive master, who built his career on avoiding shots like that, had been caught in a way rarely seen in his prime. Later, Crawford's trainer, Brian "Bomac" McIntyre, reflected on the session with pride. "That's what makes Terence special," he said. "He's got that edge, that hunger. Even in sparring, he finds a way to impose himself. That's what separates good fighters from great ones."
Have you thought about going for 51-0, beat Mayweather's record with 50-0? Is that something that you thought about?
I already said I wasn't never gonna beat Mayweather record. That's not something that I wanted to do.
Okay.
Mayweather, always the professional, took the shot in stride. While his prime may be behind him, his knowledge of the sport and ability to adapt in the ring remain unmatched. For him, stepping in with Crawford wasn't about proving anything. It was about staying connected to the sport he ruled for so many years. Crawford's performance only fueled growing comparisons between the two. Now a 4-division champion and one of just 3 fighters in the 4-belt era to become undisputed in 2 weight classes, his name is increasingly mentioned alongside Mayweather's. Sparring with Floyd, even as he nears 50, was yet another opportunity for Crawford to test himself against one of boxing's all-time greats.
They talk all the crazy stuff about me going up and having a tough time, but he went up in weight and lost. That's the difference. I went up weight and won. He went up and lost. You know, so let's not do that, Canelo.
Crawford has always embraced challenges, whether it's dominating opponents in the ring or moving up in weight to prove himself. Sparring with Mayweather only reinforced his confidence as one of the most complete fighters of his generation. His skills were on full display, and the fact that he managed to land clean on a defensive genius like Mayweather, even for a moment, was a testament to how far he has come. Mayweather's legacy remains untouched. At his peak, he was nearly impossible to hit, dismantling everyone from Canelo Alvarez to Manny Pacquiao with ease. While his reflexes may have slowed, his impact on the sport and status as one of the greatest of all time are undeniable. For Crawford, sharing the ring with Mayweather wasn't just about learning from a master, it was also a chance to show just how much he belongs among boxing's elite.
They talk all the crazy stuff about me going up and having a tough time, but he went up in weight and lost. That's the difference. I went up weight and won. He went up and lost. You know, so let's not do that, Canelo.
The session ended with mutual respect. Mayweather's composure and willingness to trade punches with Crawford spoke to his confidence, even as time catches up with him. Crawford, meanwhile, left the ring more motivated than ever, fully aware of the challenges ahead, especially with a potential move up to face Canelo Alvarez. Moments like this shape careers. For Crawford, landing that right hook wasn't just about the punch, it was about stepping in with a legend and proving he belongs in the same conversation. For Mayweather, it was a reminder that while his speed may fade, his legacy as one of boxing's sharpest minds remains untouchable.
You know, being that you obviously, again, appealing Team Crawford, can you confirm? Are we going to see that fight? Has it been made official? Is it official?
It's on, baby. September 13, baby. Look forward to it. Crawford versus Canelo. Listen how I said it.
Hey, are we getting
Crawford
this confirmation here
Canelo.
first?
You understand? Yeah, it's confirmed. Man, what?
Say less.
Crawford versus Canelo, not the other way around.
Boxing fans have been buzzing ever since rumors of a potential 2025 showdown between Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez began circulating. While the source of these whispers remains unconfirmed, the mere possibility has already sent shockwaves through the sport. Crawford, fresh off a career-defining victory over Errol. Spence Jr. is at the height of his powers. Meanwhile, Canelo Alvarez remains the face of boxing, drawing massive attention every time he steps into the ring. Though the matchup is still just speculation, it has already sparked heated debates among fans and boxing insiders alike.
Terence Crawford, I see he wants to fight. He's made it clear. Do fights like that help your legacy, or do you feel like that's something that's not worth it to you?
Everything in my career, every fight make my legacy different and better. No, Terence Crawford is a great fighter. He's a good fighter, but you know, like I say, he's weight classes for a reason. I'm focused 100%.
One of the most outspoken voices in the debate is Showbiz the Adult, who didn't hold back when questioning Crawford's chances. He compared Crawford unfavorably to Floyd Mayweather, who famously outclassed Canelo in 2013. According to Showbiz and many others, Crawford simply doesn't match Mayweather's defensive skills, ring IQ, or ability to adjust on the fly. Let's not forget what Floyd did to Canelo, Showbiz said. That wasn't just a win, it was a masterclass. Crawford doesn't have that kind of fight in him. However, some fans disagree, arguing that Showbiz is underestimating Crawford, especially after his recent sparring session where he managed to outmaneuver Mayweather.
A great fighter. The only thing I see that I favor Canelo is that, you know, is his weight.
Yeah.
And that he's more bigger. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing. But as far as skill set wise, IQ, I feel like Crawford can match anybody and probably do way better. You know what I'm saying? But you know, Crawford is a legend, bro.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, it was just sparring and many details remain under wraps, but insiders suggest that Crawford got the better of the undefeated legend. If true, this would be a huge achievement, especially considering Mayweather's renowned defensive skills. Showbiz says Crawford isn't Mayweather, but Crawford just schooled Floyd in sparring. What does that tell you? One fan tweeted, "Crawford is the real deal, and Canelo better watch out." While sparring isn't the same as a real fight, it's hard to ignore how much this boosts Crawford's credibility.
The others say, like, no, that's 2 more weight classes. Like, once he gets touched by Canelo, it's going to be different.
I am concerned about him absorbing a Canelo punch, especially through the course of 12 rounds. We do know this about Canelo. He's going to slow down, you know, so I think if anything, Canelo would try to start fast and bang on him and break him down before he gets later, and he still got that kind of steam.
If Crawford can outthink and outmaneuver a fighter like Mayweather, he might have the tools to trouble Canelo. Still, Showbiz stood firm in his criticism, arguing that sparring doesn't truly reflect how a fighter will perform under the pressure of a real fight. Look, sparring is controlled, he said. It's not 12 rounds with millions watching, with belts and legacies on the line. Crawford might have had a good day in the gym, but that doesn't mean he can handle Canelo's power at 168 lbs. And this is where the conversation takes a controversial turn.
Do it again. Do it again. What's your weight? No. Done.
Many fans feel Crawford's move up in weight to face Canelo is both unrealistic and potentially dangerous. Canelo has dominated at middleweight and super middleweight for years, consistently fighting larger opponents. His power at these higher weight classes is well known, with many of his rivals struggling to withstand his strength, especially as he's moved up the divisions. On the other hand, Crawford only recently made the jump to junior middleweight and hasn't yet faced the top fighters in that division. Critics argue that while Crawford's speed and sharpness are his biggest strengths, they could be affected by the added weight. You can't just bulk up and expect your skills to stay the same, Showbiz said. Crawford's going into the lion's den, and Canelo's the king of that jungle.
Canelo ain't gonna come down to 160.
Yeah,
Canelo ain't gonna come down, you know, maybe 166 max if he accepts.
Yeah.
I think Canelo wins that fight based on just the size, power and size. Now, skill-wise, I think Crawford's a better still fighter.
The concern is valid. Weight can impact a fighter's agility, conditioning, and timing, making it a risky move for Crawford to take on someone as powerful as Canelo at super middleweight. However, not everyone shares that view. Hall of Fame trainer Teddy Atlas added a unique perspective to the debate, suggesting that Crawford's technical brilliance could actually counter Canelo's size advantage. Crawford is special, Atlas said on his podcast. He's got the footwork, the IQ, and the ability to switch stances mid-fight. Canelo hasn't faced anyone like that in years. If Crawford stays disciplined, he can give Canelo real problems. But what about the mental aspect?
At the end of the day, I don't want to have credit to face Crawford. But you never know. You never know in boxing. I'll go up and down and fight everybody out there. So it's possible. Why not? It's possible.
Critics of Terence Crawford argue that he hasn't faced an opponent with the skill and experience of Canelo Alvarez. While Crawford has dominated in his career with notable wins over fighters like Errol Spence, Amir Khan, and David Avanasian, his resume doesn't compare to Canelo's impressive list of opponents, including Gennady Golovkin, Sergey Kovalev, and Caleb Plant. These are fighters who push Canelo in ways Crawford hasn't yet experienced. This difference in experience is why some analysts favor Canelo in a potential showdown. However, others believe Crawford's ability to adapt during a fight could give him the advantage. Timothy Bradley, a former world champion, believes Crawford has the tools to expose Canelo's weaknesses. He pointed out that Canelo's footwork has slowed down, and Crawford could capitalize on that. Bradley confidently says, if they fight, Crawford wins on points. Another issue that could affect this fight is the business side. Canelo is tied to a big contract with DAZN, while Crawford isn't tied to any promoter, giving him more flexibility. However, both fighters have been careful about their legacies, making some wonder if this fight will actually happen. One boxing journalist noted, it's one thing to talk about it, but signing the contract is another. Both guys have a lot to lose, and that's what makes this fight so interesting. The public's view also adds pressure. If Crawford beats Canelo, it could shake Canelo's standing as one of the best of his generation. On the other hand, if Crawford moves up in weight and struggles, critics will say he took on too much. This makes the fight even more thrilling, with both fighters' legacies on the line. For now, Crawford and Canelo have stayed quiet, leaving fans to speculate. But the boxing world is buzzing with anticipation, imagining what could be. This isn't just any fight, it's a battle between different styles, eras, and legacies.
When Terence Crawford said that he moved up and won, and Canelo moved up and lost.
They talk all the crazy stuff about me going up and having a tough time, but he went up in weight and lost. That's the difference. I went up weight and won.
I don't think that was a strong point because Canelo Alvarez actually moved up and won. I mean, he moved up a lot of weight classes, but if you want to talk about...
Terence Crawford believes he has what it takes to pull off a huge upset against Canelo Alvarez. Reports say the two boxing giants are finalizing a deal to fight on Mexican Independence Day weekend in Las Vegas, with Crawford moving up 2 weight classes to face Canelo at super middleweight. ESPN's Mike Coppinger confirms the fight will happen without a rehydration clause, despite expectations for one due to the size difference. Crawford, who has only recently moved up to super welterweight, will be facing a much larger Canelo, who has fought as high as light heavyweight. Crawford's trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre, is confident Crawford can win and insists they didn't want any weight restrictions. Crawford, known as one of the best in boxing today, is undefeated in 41 professional fights and has proven himself a generational talent. He's one of only 3 fighters in the 4-belt era to become a 2-weight undisputed champion alongside Alexander Usyk and Naoya Inoue. If anyone can overcome the odds, it's Crawford, who has elite ring IQ and the ability to adjust during fights. Crawford himself is confident in his skills. He explained that he likes to study his opponents and adjust his strategy accordingly. He believes his ability to figure out any fighter he faces is his greatest strength. People might say you're too small or outmatched, but that's when great fighters perform their best, Crawford said. He's ready to prove his doubters wrong, just as he's done throughout his career. Despite the challenge of moving up 2 weight classes, he's not worried about the size difference and is certain he'll feel great at 168 lbs. Canelo, however, is a formidable opponent at super middleweight. His power is unmatched in the division, and his ability to break down opponents with body shots is legendary. But Crawford isn't intimidated. He's not just a slick boxer, he's known for his ability to adapt and outsmart his opponents. His speed, footwork, and boxing intelligence make him one of the toughest fighters to figure out. This fight with Canelo will be a massive challenge, but Crawford is ready to face it head on.
Is it fair to say that Bud gave Canelo the opportunity, not vice versa?
No.
Because Bud came with the bag.
It's not.
Bud
It's
came
not.
with the bag, nigga.
You can't say that.
Bud came,
Yes, you
Bud
can.
came with the Bud came with the bag, nigga. The reason
Again,
that the
they
fight
been
happened
asking
there.
for Canelo, bro.
Canelo wasn't.
They're asking for Canelo Benavidez. Canelo ain't take.
While Canelo is the favorite, many believe that Crawford's sharp mind and adaptability give him a real chance at pulling off an upset. Crawford has never backed down from a challenge, proving his ability to dominate across multiple weight classes. His recent win over Errol Spence Jr. is still fresh in the minds of boxing fans, and now he's looking to do the same against one of the biggest names in the sport today. However, some fans believe that Canelo's size advantage could be too much for Crawford to handle. It's hard to overlook the fact that Canelo has fought as high as 175 lbs, and even though he's coming down to 168 lbs for this fight, he will still be much bigger than Crawford. There's concern that Crawford might struggle in the clinches or have trouble landing his shots against Canelo's powerful punches.
I think he's bringing up Canelo. I think that's weird, you know, because you'd have to gain like, what, 20 pounds?
Yeah.
But they say that's the money fight. That's the mega fight. That's the money fight. That's the only thing that makes sense for Terence Crawford.
Well, you know what I mean? Catch weight. We can do something at a catch weight.
What weight you think?
Probably like 160 or something.
Crawford has always embraced a challenge. Even though he's never been the biggest guy in the ring, he has consistently outclassed his opponents. His skill set, controlling the distance, using his jab effectively, and mixing in his counterpunching is what makes him such a dangerous fighter, regardless of how much bigger his opponent might be. The odds are against him in this fight, but if anyone can defy the expectations, it's Crawford. His trainer, Brian Bomac McIntyre, believes Crawford's ability to outthink Canelo will give him the edge. With the fight set for Mexican Independence Day weekend, there's no bigger stage for Crawford to prove that he belongs in the conversation of the greatest fighters of all time. People have doubted Crawford's size, but it's clear he's never let that determine his destiny. His impressive resume speaks volumes, and beating Canelo at super middleweight would be his crowning achievement, solidifying his legacy as one of the best of his generation. Can Crawford pull off the impossible? History suggests he's the type of fighter who thrives when the stakes are high. Crawford's confidence is undeniable. He knows the challenge ahead, but he's been in situations where everyone counted him out, only for him to come out on top. That's the mindset of a true champion. No fear, no excuses, just a relentless pursuit of victory. When the fight finally takes place, all eyes will be on Las Vegas. Can Crawford overcome the significant size disadvantage and end Canelo's reign at super middleweight, or will Canelo prove once again that he's the undisputed king of the division, silencing any doubts about his power and skill? Whatever the outcome, one thing is certain: this will be a fight that fans will remember for years. Terence Crawford is ready to show the world he belongs among the greatest boxers of all time, no matter what the critics say. What do you think of the fight? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates. See you in the next one.